It's 2024, this says. Yeah.
Okay, recording, yeah. Okay, welcome to the culture meeting for Wednesday evening. We've got a few apologies for absence, don't we, Ian?
We have. We've got Councillor Martin O'Neill, Councillor Richard Jarvis, Councillor David Lewis, and Councillor Laura
Gilbert, yeah. So luckily we can make it go ahead with the three of us here. And any declarations of interest before we go ahead? No? All okay?
No.
And we just need to approve, please, the minutes of the previous meeting of the committee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right, Ian's got a few updates on actions from the previous meeting.
We have. The first one is number 52, Chair, which is budget environment. I spoke to the RFO, Paul, about this being in the week. That's still in hand, number 52. Okay. The next one is for me to communicate with the CEO and RFO to confirm timetable and members to be included within the Hub Recommendations Working Group. So I emailed Kerry and Paul.
Yeah.
Is there any update for that, Kerry, for the committee or not?
Yeah.
No, haven't just obviously this is my first week back from holiday. Do need to get a committee working Underhill working group meeting together along with a few other meetings we need to pull together. So it will probably be held in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you. And the last one is number 58, and that is for yourself, Chair, to liaise with the CEO over progressing the publication of the newsletter in November.
Yes, in fact, I spoke to Kerry briefly.
And that's an agenda, right?
That's on the list.
The agenda.
Yeah.
Choose the actions.
Thank you. Right, the next item on the agenda is to approve the budget monitoring report. Apologies that Paul isn't here today, but Kerry can help answer also any questions that you may have. Otherwise, we can. Tim, was that your hand up for question? Yeah. Okay. Otherwise, we can approve the budget monitoring report. All those in favour? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Right, and then there is the budget for 2026 to also have, if you've had a chance to have a little look at it, the report, just to basically approve that as well. Approve that too?
Yeah.
Oh, Kerry, do you want to come in? Or can we approve it?
Is that
Kerry,
Sorry, Tim, go on.
come in, yeah. Kerry.
Just to say, obviously, reminder for the committee, and obviously we have to circulate this to the members that aren't here. Any budget proposals need to be submitted by the end of October to Paul via email.
Oh yeah, for the next year.
Yeah.
By Paul for the end of this month.
Yeah.
Yes,
Paul
please, yeah.
Finance on Monday. Paul was asked if he'd send out the budget proposal.
He's done that, right, yeah. He has sent it out, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
he's resent that, yeah.
Just for clarification, this is for any committee as well, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Are we talking about budget ideas now in this?
As in one that you'd like to put
Yeah.
forward, yeah.
I'd like to, I mean, I've tried it before, but I'd like to bring back the Mumbles Pool competition to hold down at Southend Gardens in September every year. You know, after the bank holiday, I think it'd be a nice way of, community spirit. Anybody can play pool. You don't have to be an expert. I'm certainly no expert. And I got through the semi-finals last time I did it.
Oh, wow.
Well, my team did. But it's great because we could have an MCC team. We could have a traders team. There's loads of different things. You can have kids involved as well. And people from outside Swansea come and play. There is a trophy for it,
Yeah.
which RFD has when he won it about 20 years ago.
Right.
So there is an actual trophy that can be presented for this as well.
When was the last time that it happened?
I would say it was 2018.
And how many people would you need to take part in it?
How
many teams?
There were quite a few teams there.
Does it work? Do they pay to enter or is it free to enter?
I think there was a charge of £5 a team or something like that. It was something nominal, but it's a good way to raise money for
a particular charity.
or the food bank or something like that. Something local, or Margaret's Bucket or anything like that, any worthwhile local thing. And it's a really good fun day as well. I mean, there was a bar there, there was live music there. So, it could be something that'd be quite
So
good.
you wouldn't necessarily need money from the council, or would you?
We might need a bit to start it up, just because we'd need marquees, but we'll have our own hopefully by then anyway. Also, we might have to pay for the site from CCS, but we could try and plan all that so we don't have to pay it.
Yeah, I mean, if the fee was like a £5 in 2017, that will probably go up to quite a lot.
Even if it's £2 per person to enter, as part of the team, and it's a nice way. I mean, it's not about the money. It's not about making money, really. It's about
but charity. Refreshments there.
Yeah, bar there, food and stuff like that. So it's good fun.
Okay, so you'll put that form in for the.
I'll put that form in.
Perfect. Tim, any ideas that you're thinking of now? No, not the minute. Okay, great. Right then, ideas and events for the hub is on here. But just to make it clear that obviously there is going to be this working group that will be set up that isn't yet set up, so that can take things further again. Okay, who wants to come in? Yep.
Yeah, we've already got, my understanding of it was that it was the current working group that's already set up for Underhill, which consists of Will, Carrie and Martin, with what was the mechanism that everything was going to go through from the full council. I didn't think there was going to be a separate working group set up, and we've already got one for that purpose, if that makes sense. But that might be my misunderstanding.
Okay, Rob.
As I understood it in that minute, Harry, because if you remember, I wanted to put the piano there, and I was told that in that meeting, the separate working group taking Underhill to be set up, and that hasn't happened yet. So that's the way it was minuted.
No, because we also didn't speak in that meeting about who would be the members on that separate working group either. And the only concern I have is that already having a working group for Underhill, a working group for Ostream, a policy working group, that we're going to end up having loads and loads of different working groups. So maybe it's that we use the existing one and we just add, if there's anybody else who wants to be added to it, they come on board and be added to it as well.
I agree, in as much as I do think we don't want too many working groups. I think it'll get confusing. But maybe if someone's got a burning desire, Rob, maybe to join it, then perhaps you could put yourself forward.
Yeah.
Is there room? Can he join? Can someone else join?
Well, there's going to be a special meeting called in the next 2 weeks anyway, because there's some documents that I need to put through council for signing, which are legal documents before the next full council meeting. So we could add it as an agenda item there, just so it's clear and it's clarified and everybody understands what's going on, because there was a bit of back and forth in that meeting, and obviously being online when there's more than one person speaking, it cuts out, so you can't fully hear everything that's going on as well. So I think it would be good to get the clarity around that as well.
Yeah, I think it's better to add to the existing group rather than create a new one. But as long as all councillors are aware of that and the option to go on to it, that's great.
Kerry, can I clarify? Is that a special meeting for Underhill, or special, or a full council special meeting then?
It will be a full council special meeting, but you don't need to include that in this bit. That's
Okay, thank you, Kerry. Right, whilst we're on it then, is there any of you want to kind of bring something forward for the ideas and the events section right now, today?
I mean, the only thing I'm going to suggest, which is the reason I wanted to put the piano there in the first place, is to have things like opera suppers. You could have musical West End nights and stuff like that, and serve, appropriate food to go with the music and stuff like that. It could be a nice little community thing, intimate sort of cabaret evenings and stuff like that. So
that is something that you could bring into the working group then, and
something into the working group, and a Christmas event would be quite nice with some Christmas music as well.
Whilst we're on that, the other idea for the event, the Toast and Toys on Thursday gets underway tomorrow at the Underhill Hub. If you fancy popping down between 9 and 12, basically there's free toast. The toys will be there for the children to play, and they're opening early. So, if you're a caregiver, then, come on down.
Chair, could I just come in there as well? Obviously, I'm quite mindful of the fact that as we all know, we're going for an options appraisal at the moment to assess what is the best operating route for the hub. So whilst it's great to see that everybody's really enthusiastic with ideas and things they want to do down there, I was wondering whether it would be prudent of us to maybe wait until we've had the report back so we know the operating outcome of the few, you know, where we're going to stand sort of things. What I'm mindful of is I don't want to start like putting on an event or something that's really popular and people then expect, and then we get to end of December and our license runs out, and then that's the end of that sort of thing, if that makes sense. If it's something that we want to look at sustaining after that, I think that's a great idea. It's just obviously I'm just mindful of things.
You know, I'm thinking of sporadic things. It'd be quite nice to get a Christmassy event there before Christmas, because as you know, as Kerry just said, we've got the license till the end of the year. Christmas is once a year, and if we're going to do something, it's going to need some planning now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree about Christmas, about doing something up there. I do know that last year Mumbles Rugby done Santa's Grotto up there, and that was something that the rugby club put up there. And I do know that the rugby are wanting to do something along those lines again, and that the rugby club are also putting on a choir up there as well at some point in December. So it would be quite nice if we do something as MCC up there, as well as a small event. I believe we've got Christmas further down on the agenda anyway, haven't we? Because there was a couple of questions I wanted to ask the committee about Christmas, if that makes sense as well.
Yeah, fine, okay. Yeah, because on that note with the Santa's Grotto, that might be quite nice. Yeah, I don't mind moving on now to item 8, actually, with the Christmas stuff. And on that note, is it possible MCC could like sponsor the rugby club's grotto so that we could like maybe, you know, help if they needed a little bit of extra money to make it a little bit better? Or where did they put it last year? Did they put it in the pavilion? Or
I think it was in the pavilion. Obviously Natalie was there last year, so she'll be able to advise more. But the questions I had from what I wanted to ask the group tonight is, first of all, we've been contacted by Swansea City Council to see, do we want the land train again on the night of the Christmas light switch on like we done last year? That would be a flat fee of £240 if we wanted to go ahead and do that. Second question for me is the ward Christmas events that we do normally every year. Are we still hoping to do them? Because as Rob's just pointed out, we need to start planning Christmas things now. And if we are doing the ward ones, are we going to do something in Underhill extra as well? And then one final question from me, sorry, because I've been asked, if you remember last year, we had the extra Christmas lighting outside the Ostream Centre that came from a Christmas light company. I know that there are some Christmas lights available to go up Underhill, which were left there from last year. I know that we've got an extra £5,000 in this budget. Has the committee got any thoughts about what they want to do with that extra £5,000 and what they want to do with that extra £5,000 and anything that they wanted to potentially put up Underhill lighting wise or things like that? Thank you.
Okay, Kerry, just a quick question on that then, with the money that you just mentioned. Is that separate for the ward party money? Yes. Yeah, and what's in the budget for the ward parties? Okay, great, £750 each. And what about, is this allowed, and I'm only saying it as a question, to have, say, the Underhill Hub, because we currently are involved there, and this might be the only year we're ever involved there, who knows? Could we do like a rolling Christmas party there, like, you know, back to back over a couple of days for all the wards, and do it in the one place? Or is that not allowed because it's not spent in the ward? Is that something that we could explore and speak to the other councillors of those wards? I'm just thinking, because we are so involved with Underhill, it kind of would make sense to utilise that. Maybe we wouldn't have to pay for the actual venue.
Yeah. No.
And then whatever we do, we can roll out for each Christmas party, whether there's 2 on one day or they're just on separate days, but we maybe get them done in the 1 week.
I can see West Cross objecting to having it there. I think they'll probably want to have one in West Cross Community Centre.
Yeah, and they might. It might worth us asking the question. And then the other thing was transport, maybe that might be an issue, but then could we, with the money, that extra 5,000, because I'm really saying, not all of it, obviously, but some of that money, provide the transport to get them there with a bus, maybe, if needed. I don't know, how would we go about that? Would we just suggest it to the West Cross Council and see if they'd be up for it or not?
I think first of all, it's a discussion that definitely needs to happen with all councillors across the board about pooling the Christmas money together to see if that's what they want to do, because that would mean each ward, for example, wouldn't have like males, for example, do their January craftathon instead of doing something at Christmas. So that would mean that wouldn't happen. It would also mean that what's previously happened in Newton with the like the Christmas tea and sandwiches and that wouldn't happen, because it would all be moving. So I think first of all, that's not something I can answer. It's a decision that's got to be made by all councillors. With regards to the £5,000, if you wanted to via that into some form of community transport, that's a recommendation you can make, and it would have to be decided on by full council. Just because you've touched on community transport, I am actually on a webinar beginning of November about how you can obtain funding and different things like that, and I'm looking at other councils' models of community transport, because it's something that I've been getting asked quite a lot about members of the public and residents when they're emailing in or popping in the office.
Yeah, I just think the transport for the people that come to Coffee and Cake, for example, I mean, at the moment, a lot of them, you know, have helped to get here, or they're able to get here themselves, and that's great. But to encourage new people to maybe come, to give them the independence and the lifeline to come, or maybe when a time arises when some people can't get here, it would be nice for us to be able to offer them to get here. I think that for some people, Coffee and Cake, or the little activities that are on locally are lifelines for them, and they really, really look forward to them every week. So it would be nice to look into that. So when is that meeting, Kerry? That webinar?
I think it's the 6th of November.
So if we wanted to make a recommendation to full council about looking at two things, the ward Christmas party coming together as one option, and transport, can we put that on the agenda to talk about?
Yeah, so you vote on it tonight. You vote on it tonight as a recommendation that you as a committee want to make, and then that will go forward as your recommendations to council then.
Okay, so firstly, can we vote on a recommendation to full council being that we look at some options potentially for transport? Yeah. Okay, Tim. Yeah. And then the other one was all we can do is ask if they want to consider coming together for some ward parties. But on that note, Kerry, just before we do vote on that, does it have to be like the Newton Christmas party has to be in Newton, or could it be at Underhill?
Underhill is in Newton, the hub.
It is the boundary, is it? Okay.
Yeah. The park is the boundary.
Okay.
So it just depends on what each councillor's appetite is, what they want to do, whether they want to do, because what you've got to remember as well, each ward kind of targets different age demographics on their Christmas parties as well. So it's what if you came together, what you would want to do, whether you wanted to do one big, this is MCC, everybody's welcome, it's all age groups and there's something there for everybody, or whether you host all your individual parties up there, which obviously is down to the councillors of each ward to decide if that's what they want to do.
So
yeah.
just before you put that to vote, what I would say is we're not in we don't have the luxury of having a massive building, because I know CCS use the Brangwyn for their Christmas lunch thing that they do. So, you know, if we were going to do come and have a big party MCC, 15,000 ward sort of thing, we don't have a building, I don't think, that, you know, is big enough for that. So I think maybe my own personal view is that the wards do their own thing, because I know West Cross do it for the kids, and Oystermouth do it after Christmas on the Tuesday before tea and cake, coffee and cake. You know, in Newton we've all Christmas, so I don't think you're going to get a consensus of people wanting to all do something together. So it's very much a work thing.
Yeah,
That's my idea.
yeah, I was only thinking, does that cost, when you decorate the venue, say, and it's all lovely, and then you've got the caterers in, could we do, you know, one say at 12 o'clock, one say at 2 o'clock on the same day or consecutive days?
2 hours isn't much for a party, because for some of them, they don't go that much, so it's quite nice for them to spend an afternoon at least, you know, or, you know, 3-4 hours job.
Yeah. Shall we then put to the agenda maybe 2 options of joining, maybe just 2 wards for each, for 2 different options, and then just mainly to cut down, and I'm thinking officers' workload, because we don't have Claire, maybe on cost. It may not even be a thing that everyone wants to do, and that's fine. So should we still put that on the agenda, do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, in favour of that? Okay, fine. Then there's more to do with Christmas. Should I hand over to you, Kerry?
Yeah, so obviously there was the question about whether you want the land train, and that was £240 to have the land train. Last year we done obviously the land train, and the kids got a selection box when they got on and off the land train, and that was all run by MCC officers. So we marshalled it, we done the health and safety there and everything else. So it's up to the committee whether they want to do that or not, and it basically will run up and down the prom like it does on the when it runs as the normal land train.
Like last year, a lovely thing. I don't think it's much of an outlay for that to happen. If I'm right, all of the slots booked up very, very quickly, didn't they, Kerry?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we'd be able to book them all up again. We did. Can you remind me though? Was Santa able to come, or we're not able to have Santa come?
The driver dresses up as Santa, because then you've got Santa on the lifeboat coming down from RLNI, haven't you? I believe.
Oh, because the real one's busy at that time of year, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. So his relative dresses up.
So it would be good if we could have you know, some elves, and if we could make a phone call to the North Pole to see if we could have Santa for some of the elves. That would be really, really good. That would be good. But yeah, I think that'd be lovely. When is it possible to do? Oh no, it's not possible. I was going to ask a silly question then, but yeah.
Kerry, I don't know if you've seen the minutes from Monday's finance yet. No. Okay, it's just because we're talking about the Christmas parade, and obviously Mumbles Traders have put in a grant request for that.
Sorry, yeah, I haven't seen the minutes, but Paul has spoke to me about that, and I have spoke to Mumbles Traders today to tell them what we require from them, so they are aware of what we require.
Am I able to fill in Angela and Tim about that, or to Angela, because Tim was there?
Yeah, so basically the Mumbles Traders put in 2 grant funds and applications, one for the Christmas lights, one for their Christmas trees. Can't remember the individual amounts off the top of my head, but I think total it was about £5,000. It has been approved recommended to approve by the committee on the basis that from the funding that Paul had from the SLA when he had his funding previously, what went through the finance committee in July this year was like an analysis of what he'd spent, along with a lot of breakdown from social media engagement and interaction posts. So what the committee have asked for is actual bank statements and the copy of the invoices and receipts for everything that we funded for that year, so they can see everything. So then they know that they can award for this year. So he has been advised that's what we need.
Okay, great. I mean, this is an event that obviously builds year on year, so it would be good to get an idea of numbers of how it's growing and how many people are actually, you know, attending the event, which I think would be good.
That's really handy, but what we've got to have to cover our own backs and to do things legally is these things from Paul, and he's got until the next full council to provide those. Failing that, we're not allowed to award the grant to him.
Right, okay.
So it might mean, if that was the case, we'd be looking at funding the Mumbles thing ourselves.
Okay, and okay, well, 2 things then. First is, will this be brought up in the special meeting, Kerry? So we'll get an answer back for Paul, and actually know it for Paul to know that the documents have to be in with us by the new date of the new meeting, whenever that will be?
So the conversation I've had with Paul, his can't remember, accountant lady actually on holiday for half term from next week, so he's hoping to get everything over to us by the end of this week.
Okay, that's great. So he'll have everything here, and then it'll be ready in time for the meeting, and that will go to council to get approval before the next full council meeting, which will be better because we'll all know where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there is some money that whether we use for a few other Christmas things, we'll have to pull that out, make it happen otherwise. I don't know whether the funds are dependent on that event going ahead or not.
I think it's too early to say.
Okay. So back to the train then. Are we happy, whether it's our event, whether it's Paul's event that happens at the end of November, are we happy that the land train gets given the go-ahead?
100%.
Yeah.
Can we go on it?
Yeah.
Let's press a button.
Yeah, you can dress up as the elves.
Here we are. Tim, can we
What's this?
do you want to see Father Christmas, Tim? Yeah.
Well, just check, Chair, is that a recommendation or is it just approved? That's right.
Yeah, I think it has to be a recommendation, will it, Carrie?
Yeah.
For full council. Yeah.
But it's approved that me and Ange are going to be elves.
Right, then Christmas lights. We've got money that was approved by full council for Christmas lights to look at for next year. Obviously, that's going to be on the agenda for say January time. But for now, provided we don't have, I suppose it depends what we're using that money on. If we need to use that money on ahead of Christmas, but the option is to get some new lights potentially out of that money. Otherwise, would that be okay to think that, Kerry?
Yeah, so it's up to you guys on what you want to do. If you feel that there may be the need to use this money elsewhere, as you've just discussed, as a backup, that is an option to just keep it there for that. If you then don't need to use it as a backup, you could request that you use it in next year's budget for stuff like next year.
I mean, I think it would be nice to have, because last year, don't forget, we were lucky enough to have that grant. Do you remember, for outside here? And we had the extra sparkle, I suppose, outside the Austrian Hall. And it would be nice. We've got the brochure, haven't we? When it says, like 2 motifs and then you can get 1 free, and some of these offers are until the end of the month, what's the sort of costs that we're looking at for, say, 2 motifs, or do you not know off the top of your head?
I don't know. I haven't explored. I had that email and I just forwarded it on to you, so I haven't explored any costs at all.
If we wanted to go ahead and get something that was within the budget there, does that have to go through to full council as well? Or is money sort of being approved for this particular thing, so it's okay?
We've delegated powers within the budget anyway, and I'm pretty sure there's I knew somebody was gonna ask me this tonight, and I was in the middle of finding the it's okay, bear with me.
I can't view the catalogue on my phone for some reason.
Yeah, if you let me just have a look now. It's
just annoying how expensive they are sometimes, isn't it, for what you get.
I know.
I mean, the other option is those, I don't know, they're not cheap, are they? Even the festoon lighting along the front, because they look really, really lovely. If we had those at Newton Road, we talked about this, we couldn't have it, could we?
No.
There was a reason. Because of those lights and stuff.
They've got to be a certain height up, and the properties are some privately owned, some are not privately owned. And the width of the street as well, I think, because they might need something in the middle to support. So there were quite a few.
Yeah. Could do it around the Austrian, but then that might make the rest of the road look lonely. The other thing, could we give a certain amount of money to places on Newton Road to buy their own decorations for outside, like they do with the Christmas trees, or is that entering into territory that we don't really want to enter into? Just a question.
They would need to apply for the individual grant funding if that was the case. Sorry, bear with me, I'm just trying to find something.
That might be messy then, because it wouldn't all look the same, would it?
Yeah. Sorry, the document I want won't load.
No,
There we
that's
go.
okay.
That's okay. I'm nearly there. Bear with me. Sorry.
Don't load it up on my phone either. I'm trying to look on the catalogue online, but I can't get into it for a minute. Sorry. We can come back to that in just a second. I'll move on to Mumbles Fest and come back to Christmas if that's okay. Whilst Kerry's looking, Mumbles Fest, it was just the date was agreed. We do need to start looking ahead and planning in for that. You know, sometime soon, if there's some artists that people want to, we might need to look at just booking a few in.
Although
Because
what we've said that in the past, we've been told we can't book anything until it's actually agreed for the budget.
okay, so do we need to add something like that on the agenda that we can preliminary book people in? I'm not even thinking everybody.
Budget is agreed in January. So obviously, if you hold off till January when budget's agreed, because we agree it and then we notify city and county of what we want. That's it. Your budget's agreed. So then you can start booking. It's just you can't pay anything until April when the new budget comes into play. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Especially we can't approve this in advance as a yearly thing, and we can.
Yeah, like almost the summer, once Mumble Fest is done with one year,
Planning the next
be
year.
able to book for the following year, because sometimes they just get booked up, even if it's just weddings and parties.
Yeah.
I know I booked my band like 2 years before, but yeah, so maybe Ian, if we put a note in for January, that in January, we put forward the requests.
So the full council agenda, yeah?
Yeah,
I agree, we should be planning next
Yeah.
year as soon as the previous one's over.
okay, back to Christmas, sorry Kerry, did you get any luck with that?
Yeah, bear with me. I've just found the document now. Give me 2 secs.
It's fine.
Yeah, so we've got delegated powers for the authorization of routine expenditure in line with the agreed budgets, and that was agreed at the AGM and under a scheme of delegation that was provided to council. That obviously means that Paul and I, so it basically gives Paul the power to make the payments. It gives us the power to incur expenditure within budget. So if you're happy, we can book the land train out of the £5,000 that you have for Christmas.
I'm happy with that, but we don't need to put that to full council. You don't need to pull that full to council in. And I'm also happy for some of that to go on some lights if need be, or do we not want that to happen? Or do you just want to, do we want to put a limit on like half of it, or?
I think we can put a half bit towards like, certainly it's £5,000, isn't it? It's not going to cost us that much for transportation.
No.
The things, I mean, the West Cross people tend to live near the thing. The only problem you see with needing transportation for the hub or anywhere else we hold it is parking and walking that far, isn't it, for old people?
Is it for future years, like what they do in other centres, obviously across the road, they've got their lights. Is there something we can do like that on Newton Road in future years, or can we ask the company with the lights if that is something we
This
can
is
do?
some of the brackets that go into the building to hold the lights. And then if it's private property, you see, if it's a privately owned place, then they don't want people drilling in their walls and putting these brackets. I've got a feeling there's something to do with that.
Yeah, maybe it is. I'm
No,
just
and
thinking,
what-
you know, at Newton Road, it would look lovely if there was something all the way up.
Yes. So what normally happens with Christmas lights is they use the lampposts, because the lampposts are owned by the unitary authority, and then there's the electricity supply into the lamppost. But I'm trying to rack my brains now because this goes back. The specification of the lamppost has to be to a certain specification to carry the weight of the motive and have the internal workings for the electricity inside. Obviously, the current electrical supplier that we use that puts all our Christmas lights up works with Swansea City Council and knows everything. So it may be that you leave as is for this year, and then we look at the Christmas light scheme as a whole right from January, because it is quite late in the day now to start trying to plan stuff for Christmas light people.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that then, is it? We know we've got all that money there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we leave it as it is this year. There's no grants available, so there will be less than last year. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you have got your new light outside, that you're using to light up the off stream. So you could put that on red and green throughout December if you wanted to.
Yeah, add a bit of extra light. Yeah, that's good. Right, and then on that note, the light is up and running. You might have seen it. We've had it up for last two, the baby loss awareness. We've had it for Diwali, so actually it's quite nice that we can just use it as and when for various special moments that we need to highlight in the calendar.
Polio is the next one, Chair, which was requested by the RNLI.
Which one is, sorry?
Polio.
The polio one was requested by the RNLI.
Yeah, and that's on Friday.
So that'll be going on Friday, and then the social post will go out to accompany that.
No.
Did you have to put that out yourself the other day, or did you have to contact the company to put it out?
No, we put it out ourselves.
Okay, well done. Thank you for that. And then next on the agenda is the newsletter update. I can get that for you at the end of the week, Kerry, like I said, and then you can check it over, make amendments, whatever you want to do with it.
Perfect, thank you.
Mumbles Folk and Blues Festival, if Richard has...
There's no update.
No update. If he wants to give me a couple of lines, just add into the newsletter.
Yeah.
He can, just a little paragraph, just about how he thought it went, what band
Yeah,
performed
it was
there,
good.
Yeah. Or even you could write me just a couple of lines, just tell me what band was there, how many people were there, if they enjoyed that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, the next item is the potential purchase of the marquee. I don't know whether you've had a chance to see this. I can run through it for you. It's a rough policy that we've done for approval by the policy working group. So in summary, it's a community marquee, and this is just outlining who is in charge of it, looking after it, where it's supposed to be stored, and then how people can loan it. They have to fill in the form, obviously. They'll have to book it in. They may have to pay a deposit. There are conditions of the loan, whether a deposit is required or not. And that's going to go through the policy working group. And then provided that gets approved, it will be whether or not.
I would just suggest that rather than go through the policy working group, it goes straight to full council, because otherwise it's going to go to the policy group to go through full council, so we can get that through much quicker.
Right, Carrie?
Yeah, the only thing I am concerned about is that obviously you formed the policy working group to look at all your policies. So if you start deviating away from that, do we just do away with the policy working group and I write the policies and put them to the relevant committees and then they go to council that way? That's the only concern I have.
That would be an idea, because we haven't had a policy meeting yet.
No, we had the last one when we looked at the finance and governance toolkit.
Yeah.
Okay, unless you can call a policy working group meeting to approve it before full council.
When's the special meeting going to be?
It will probably be the where am I? So I'm in December, sorry, wrong month. It will probably be the 4th.
Okay.
Of November. What day is that? Is that Tuesday as well?
Tuesday.
Yeah.
It was 2 weeks yesterday.
Okay. So you'd have to do the working group meeting in a week's time.
We'd have to do it next Tuesday if that was going to be the case. And I'm trying to cram all my teaching into 3 days so I can actually have 2 days off next week.
When
So
are we likely to buy this marquee?
I mean, to be fair, I mean, will we need to use it over Christmas? That's the biggest thing. If we need to use it by the land train, would it be useful for you there? Would it be useful if we did something at Underhill?
We've got the two pop-up ones already. Remember the
Well,
ones me and you, we put one up out in the car park?
So we're unlikely to need this then until January,
Spring.
next year. In which case there's no rush then, is there?
no.
So as long as we don't need it for Christmas and you're happy we don't need it for Christmas, then there's
Yeah,
no
I'm
immediate
happy we
rush.
don't need it. Yeah,
Okay, fine.
we've got the two big ones the one that me and you tried to put up in the car park, and then we've also got a couple of little ones as well, which are easy to go up as well. So we've got enough marquees. As far as I'm aware, there isn't any other community groups that have asked that know about this at the moment to ask to come and loan it. So obviously if we buy it in the new year, it just gives us the time to get the policy set up and put in place then.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, saves you. Next we put on the agenda,
Chair, that's resolved to refer to the policy working group, is that correct?
it is going to go to policy working group and then it'll have to come to full council,
Yeah.
and then we don't need to
Thank you.
vote it from January.
Thank you.
Then the recruitment of the marketing officer. Sarah and Phil had a keen interest in maybe putting some pointers across, but they haven't as yet emailed me because you said you wanted to put on the agenda, didn't you, to discuss? But then I said to them, if you wanted to have an input, etc., feel free to email. And I'm just double checking in case.
I think what happened is Will said in the full council meeting that it was important that myself and yourself were on the selection committee.
Oh, right, sorry, yeah, that was it.
For that role. And Phil and Sarah expressed an interest because they do a lot of events in West Cross Community Centre.
Okay.
Now, whether or not those events are big events compared to Mumfest is, obviously not. It's we're not, but I mean, the initial thing from Will was that me and you are on that panel, an interview panel.
Okay, fine. And then I'm up for, chatting to you about it if you wanted to add anything extra in. I didn't know whether it was about the job description.
I think Phil and Sarah had some ideas of what they wanted included in the job description. Yeah.
So can that just be a separate conversation with you, Kerry, as opposed to a whole agenda item now discussing the role, maybe any amendments to the job description or wishes, desires for the new officer?
So the job description will go to personnel committee. There are a couple of suggestions that do need to be discussed, obviously, with the personnel committee. Will has spoke to me about you both being on the interview panel, which is completely fine because obviously when we recruited for the environment officer, chair and vice chair of that committee interviewed for that person then. The way that we do interview, though, is that there will be questions agreed between myself and the chair of that committee. Every candidate is asked the same questions and it's a scoring matrix, and the person who scores the highest is then the person who gets appointed into the role. That's the fairest way of obviously conducting the interviews and seeing who gets the position. Happy to, obviously, if you yourselves as chair and vice chair, Andrew and Rob, have got any input you want to put into the job description, if you want to email it to me prior to it going to personnel committee for them to obviously discuss and see what happens with that, and then obviously they will give me the go ahead then to obviously start the recruitment of that role.
What timescale are we looking at for this?
I think that they're quite keen to get moving on it quite quickly. So we have got a personnel committee scheduled for next Wednesday morning.
Right. And once the job description has been through personnel committee, will that then come back to full council to vote on it and approve it?
No, because personnel committee have got delegated powers to do all the recruitment, amendments of contracts and job descriptions.
Okay, so if we think of anything then.
Is there any way that people can be added to the personnel committee, or as vice chair and chair of this committee, with, you know, the people who work in this industry anyway, we could come to that meeting and be part.
The way that you could be added to the committee is if it goes back on the agenda for full council for members to be added onto the personnel committee. I can certainly take some advice on whether you can attend at that particular item, and I can come back to you and let you know. The meeting is at 9:30 next Wednesday morning, so I don't know if that's doable for either of you.
That's doable for me. I just feel that, you know, with something which is such a specific thing, I mean, yourself and myself, the people who work in this industry and know how this sort of industry works, it'd be beneficial.
Yeah.
Because no offence to the other people on the committee, but they don't work in that industry, so.
Are you free to go at 9:30?
I could go at 9:30, yeah.
Okay, so I'll take some advice on whether I can add, we can get you to come in at, because what might happen is you'd have to wait in a waiting room and then come in and then leave on that item, if that makes sense, because you're not part of the committee. I'll see if that is possible to do that.
Is it online?
It's in person, but we can, obviously I can move it onto online if that works better.
Okay, and will the personnel committee be sent a sort of draft job description in advance?
It will be the current job description that was recruited on previously, and then there will be a report attached to it that will have some suggestions on it. And obviously, if you guys want to feed into that report prior to it going to the committee, that's what I was saying. If you want to give me anything you want going into that report, I'm happy to take that forward to the committee.
Okay, I mean, I think the first step is, I mean, if you send that job description out so we can have a look at it to see what's in it at the moment, because I mean, it was so many years ago, I can't remember exactly everything that was in it and seen it, you know. There we are, thank you, Kerry.
Okay, thank you. Right, finally on the agenda is the training plan, which has to go to all the different committees. And Kerry, are you all right to give us an update on this, please?
Yes, perfect. So I do remember there is the training of councillors is something that we should be pushing through our council to make sure that everybody's equipped to do what they need to do. Training plan was introduced when I first started, and obviously I circulate all the training round to members every time I get the email to say if there's any training that anybody wants. We've had a bit of a lull in people coming forward for training, so obviously it's just going on the agendas to remind councillors for each committees when I send the list out, if there's any training that you feel is specific to the committee you're on, or there's the code of conduct, or you want to understand employment law, or you know, something along those lines, just let me know and I can book you the place on the training.
That's it. No, just unmuted you.
Oh, sorry. That's lovely, thank you. And is that a new additional training list to the one we had a while back?
They send it out monthly, so they haven't issued anything this month for us. So it normally comes the end of the month, beginning of the month. So as soon as I get it, I will circulate it around all councillors with the reminder that if there's any training on there that you want, because for example, they do health and safety training for when you're doing events and things like that. So that might be useful for members of this committee to go on health and safety training.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll take a look at that. Okay, lovely. Thank you for Kerry.
Just one thing on training, I just feel personally, Kerry, that all councillors should have basic first aid training. That's something I'd be keen.
Yeah, dated. Is that on training list too?
So the training that I circulate through the email is done through One Voice Wales. So there isn't first aid training on there, but as it happens, I've met with Swansea Council today about training that they are, Swansea Council, Swansea, Gower College even, on the training that they are offering, because they've got a lot of free courses at the moment, and one of those free courses is first aid, which is a one-day course. So obviously that does mean councillors giving up one day because of for the first aid training. So I'm happy to circulate that to councillors and see if we get any takers for it, and then we can host it in either Underhill or in the off stream.
That's good, thank you, Kerry. And also another one I would be interested in doing is the food hygiene one.
Yeah.
Because if we ever want to help, make sandwiches and do all of those for any of the parties, we need that that certificate, don't we, to be able to do it? So,
And again, there is free food hygiene, level 2 and level 3 available through Gower College as well.
okay, and you'll send this new list out as soon as you have it, and then we can respond
Yeah.
with.
I'll send a new list out, and what I'll actually do is circulate the training for the Gower College, i.e. The food hygiene, first aid. If I can get some more safeguarding training as well, I think that would be useful for councillors who are involved in events as well, because that's
Yeah.
really important, because that not only covers children, it also covers adult safeguarding as well. So I think that would be really useful as well.
Yeah, I think that'll be really good for all of us in the events, because when we're turning up at the events or wanting to put the events on, we can be hands-on. So that'd be brilliant. Thank you. Right, I think that is a wrap. That is the end of the meeting, and we've done it in just under an hour. So amazing.
Marks and Spencer's speak.
Tim, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Kerry, as
everyone.
well. Thank you.
I'll see you tomorrow, Tim.
I'll stop.
Cheers, bye.
Just record.